business, entrepreneurship, technology, investment, ideas, people, users, growth, scaling business, how to build a business, how to create a successful business. Okay, so these are some of the keywords that I use in this video. So I want to talk about business and entrepreneurship, and I have observed over the years that a lot of people are looking for a the magic pill, right? Or they want a predictable steps for a business. They want a guide. They want a guide where they can follow step by step and then succeed. But I have a news for you, people. The reality is business is very unpredictable. Okay, you have to keep in mind business, being an entrepreneur is very isolating and is very unpredictable, and and sometimes it's very lonely. Okay, if you consider lonely as something has a negative connotation, right? And and a lot of people, they are scared of risk. How many people are motivated by fear? I used to be one of them. I used to be very My decisions all motivated by fear. I'm going to give you an example. In 2019, I I bought some Bitcoin. At the time, it was maybe when I got in, it was probably $4,000 a piece, and I didn't have the patience. Instead of waiting, right? I did not have the patience, and I didn't have the foresight that in order to be successful, you need to be patient and not rush into things. So, and also not to be for the short term. I was looking for the short term, but it turns out short terms is very short sighted, right? It doesn't have any rewards. If if I was patient enough to wait, I purchased maybe a couple of them. Not, I remember at some point I had maybe have a 10 bitcoins, and I also have other a lot of Ethereum and other crypto coins. But at some point I decided just to sell them and move on. And today Bitcoin is $100,000. See, so it requires this is all part of my experience. Sometimes they say hindsight is 2020, right? I think most of the time, a lot of ideas, a lot of experiences are already available, right? But the problem is we don't have the wisdom, we don't have the knowledge to apply those wisdoms, to apply those knowledge in a very logical sense. Okay, somebody who went through a forest, okay, for 30 days, and he faced a lot of challenges during the course of his journey, and he was able to reach the other side, And then now he comes to the young people and tell them these are kind of the challenges you will face when you go when you are into this journey of of crossing the forest. Do you think the young people will listen? The problem the young people will listen is they don't have knowledge. They don't have the wisdom even to comprehend, because in order to comprehend someone, some wisdom, somebody who is wise, you have to have some sense of wisdom in yourself too. If you don't have that a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of insight, it's very hard for you to accept the information, even though that information is quite valid, because you don't have the predisposition. That's the thing with being young, right? You have all the time, but you don't have the knowledge and the wisdom and the experience. And that's why you have to make the same mistakes and come to the same conclusions. Instead of just listening to the person, okay, instead of the person who crossed the forest, but you want to do it yourself, and you will find out by yourself. And unfortunately, a lot of times we have to find out by our own experiences, as if we don't want to follow the movie of others. We would just want to be our own actor and go through life. There is a beauty to it, right? There is a beauty to it. There is kind of like some sort of originality in your own experiences. Something called sonder, right? Everyone, they see life through their own experiences. They go through life. They have the you know, unique experience in life, right? But in some case, especially something that has to do with material, right? That's why, if you, let's say, if you are, sometimes you follow some of the steps without without distraction, you'll be able to come to very different results. Okay. And so this is kind of following the traditional way, right? There is steps you follow, and there is an expected results, very predictable. But however, my point is, when it comes to business, being entrepreneurship, you will face different type of challenges. Okay. But the common challenges are isolation, right? Lack of funding, lack of resources, right? No support. And when you are young, when you're small, nobody really pays you attention. This is the really uh, people are not interested when you are small. They don't really pay attention. But when you start becoming bigger, then you grab their attention. It's quite fascinating, right? A lot of people, when you have a small business and you ask for investment, they just dismiss you, because for some reason, being small is not a recipe for success, which is completely false, right? A lot of companies, they started small. They started as you know in their garage. Okay. But you need to have, but that's why you need to meet people that who have the foresight. They can see the future. They can see your potential. Some people, they have that kind of intelligence in them. Okay, they can invest in you early on because they can see the future. These people, they don't, they don't have bias. Okay, they don't see it as small or big, but they understand, whether from their perspective, from their experiences, they or whether the understanding of the market, they understand that this person is 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 into something. This person have a potential to reach horizons, right? So that's where you get a lot of good investors. Okay, the best, the most successful investors are investors who are not binded by institutional wireframes, right? They open themselves, they open to hear business ideas. Okay. And unfortunately, a lot of institutional investors, what they do is they are very out of touch from reality, right? Okay. So they have a guide, that's a book, right? So they only go by the book. You know, so all these steps, all these criteria have to be in place in order for my company to invest in you. I think that's a very narrow and foresighted way of investing. Okay. Yes, some people, they don't meet those criteria because they are still small. When you are small, you don't, it's impossible to meet those criteria. Instead of focusing on the core idea, is this idea has a value in the future? Is this idea, will the will the market accept this idea, this project, right? So you have to look at from that perspective. If you could look at it only from perspective where you have to have those criteria met, you have to have your financial rights, right? I think that you will miss on great opportunities. Okay, how many people missed on, for instance, on Facebook, or Google, right, or Netflix? I remember years ago, in 2010, I believe, I happened to came across Netflix, and at the time, I did not like the movies on the Netflix. Right, I found them very shallow movie. Not There is no definite to it. I think I still believe today. To be honest, Netflix, in terms of the quality of creating movies, they are not there yet. Okay, that's why I watch legacy companies like Paramount, okay, Warner Brothers, Miramax. So, I think those companies, they've been doing it for long. They they kind of master the art of movie making. And I have to confess, the movie that I do not watch Netflix for great movies. I watch some Korean shows, are very interesting. For instance, like the Physical 100, okay, is about fitness. Yeah, some Korean shows are very interesting. And the movie that I would watch are the movies that are usually licensed. Netflix, take the licensing, pay the licensing, and they make them available on Netflix. But the movies are produced by other people. But nonetheless, the company has a value proposition. It has great value because you know, so this is a bias that my bias. I don't think they make great movies. But if you are an investor, you have to put those bias aside, and you have to look at from the potential. But if I have a lot of money, I would definitely invest in, uh, Netflix. The reason is simple. I've been living in the United States. My brother in Chad asking me the password for the Netflix, and right now I'm paying Netflix only for them to be able to enjoy it. They've been watching. I don't watch it. I rarely watch it. I use Paramount, a lot of Paramount, and sometimes Peacock, right? But from a standpoint of an investor, there's a lot of great values here, right? So if I were an investor, I will definitely invest, even though I do not particularly like a lot of movies that they put out. Okay. So business is not, is very unpredictable. A lot of businesses, they go out of business, they go out of business because they they have this hubris that the market will accept them because they have a good product. No, because you have a lot of funding, from VCs, doesn't mean your product will be valuable. Okay. And I make the point, you have to make sure your products, the market want your product. You cannot force the market to shove, to force them to adopt your product when they don't see any need for it. Case in point, robots. I see robots all the time. I see when I watch Tesla's conference. I see them, showcasing robots. But as someone who's versed in technology, as somebody who's connected in social media in a digital age, and as somebody who's an entrepreneur, at this moment, I do not see any need for me to buy a robot. But yet, they have this hubris to push robots everywhere. Okay? This is an example where big companies with a lot of money and they have no ideas what they are doing. Okay? Is mostly driven by philosophical agenda rather than practical market through the lens of market. And this is where I see the perversion of business, where some people, they got a lot of money. Okay, because the point of business is you have a service or product and you are giving to the market, and the market can pay you for that. Okay, and then then you make money, then you become extremely rich. And I see the problem where people have a lot of money, billions of dollars, and they become corrupted in their minds. Now it's no longer about making a profit, but it's about engineering, changing the best foundation of society by, let's say, investing in, I mean, funding in transhumanism, an agenda. They have a very peculiar agenda that are not benefits for society. I think that's where the perversion lies, right? Okay, now here I'm, a small business. I started a small business, I'm still small. And then I become a billionaire. Then I don't think I will ever try to change to to use our money for the use of evil, right? Okay, so that's the reason why a lot of people in America are very upset about CEOs. And I was very shocked when I find out that when the CEO of one of the health companies was, I don't know, it was unalive in New York. The comments are very shocking. A lot of people really, they have no sympathy for for this person, and it does reflects. But I think it has to. I think it should be a you know a call for all the CEOs why the public hate them. I think it's a fair question, right? Why a lot of why the onions make a sketch about the Uber being a plantation for slave workers. You have to ask yourself why they are looked at very as a evil, not for force for good. I think the Marcus is always right. I think there's this sentiment, you know, is real. It's coming from a place of reality, a place of pain. And the CEOs of the companies, they should really think about whether the companies that they are leading are, are improving society, or they are they are detrimental to the society. Okay, and that's a huge problem. You know, that's why I have a completely different philosophical viewpoint when it comes to business, when it comes to entrepreneurship. I do not, I'm not, I don't fit into the mindset of corporation that we have today, because this is not the way I see business. That mindset needs to change. It's not helpful for the society. When a CEO is killed, people are cheering. That's sick. That's a reflection that there is a deep a deep problem, right? Okay. So, okay. What else I want to say? Okay, so going back to the point of business, business is not for the faint of heart. it is very difficult to start a business. They today they are trying to fantasize. Oh, being your own boss. Give me a break. What do you mean being your own boss? It's a trick, right? Being your own boss, but you don't have freedom. You cannot travel. You cannot enjoy life, and you are being punished by the government because you have to pay more taxes. This is not freedom. Okay, being they glamorize being your own boss, but it has a lot of consequences that people are not aware of. You know, I've done the work. I've done it for 10 years. I was sitting there and waiting for customers to come in. Okay. I was worried about the rent. I was worried about how I'm going to pay the car. Right. But if you work for a traditional company, 9 to 5, you don't have the worries. It's very predictable and it's also very stable. Okay. So being an entrepreneur is very difficult. It's not easy. Okay. It would really also, you know, so you're alone and facing the storm, right? Because you don't have no foundations around you, and at some point the storm will win. Okay. So I had finally closed my business on 2023, right? Yeah, 2023, and and I knew that the business is dying, and especially the industry. The industry is dying, right? Uh, and I knew that there is no room for growth. So it's time for me to focus on software on application. That's where I create the Songbook Audio. So it's a media company, and I think a lot of the media is where people go, right? We're making video right now, audio, audiobooks, podcasts, all right? And a lot of people this, and I moved to Texas, and they tell me, oh, why won't you? Well, you need to open a new business, same business. But I have the experience, and I have the knowledge, and I have the wisdom not to repeat the same mistakes. Okay, because I can see the reason I closed the business, because the business was not doing well, and that the industry in general is dying. Okay, so if you are an entrepreneur, so you have to look at your industry globally, so that you are not taken by surprise. Okay, so you have to ready for it at some point to exit before the waves take you out. All right, so it's very important to understand your industry and how it's moving over the years. Okay, so a lot of time, as Americans say, uh, what do you call it? Throwing shits on the wall and to see which one it sticks. Right? So sometimes business is just trying different things and in hoping that one of them sticks out. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna stop here. Uh, if you have a perspective that you want to share, you can comment below. Make sure to like it, to share it. You know. Thank you.